All praises to the Most High. Blessed be our Father, Yahuwah Elohim Almighty. Blessed be the Ruach HaKodesh and our Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach. Greetings, Yashar'al, to the 12 tribes worldwide. Greetings. Good to see everybody again. And I have something in my spirit, something on my mind I want to share. And it's about these meteorites. People have been recording them all over the place. Stuff been coming down into the Earth's atmosphere. And a lot of people just don't understand. A lot of people are frightful. But those of us who are the righteousness of Yah in the earth, we have nothing to fear because we are protected. Yah has, in the scripture of Proverbs chapter 2, it says that He is our shield and our buckler. So the other day in my studies, when I was studying the word, I didn't understand what that word meant. And words that I come across when I'm doing my studies, I always look them up. And so, cell phones, this is a research tool right here, and I don't see why so many people, a whole lot of people just don't do it. But you can research anything, and I looked up the word buckler. Define buckler. See, it says a buckler is a small round shield historically used in medieval and Renaissance art to hand combat, typically ranging from 6 to 18 inches in diameter. It was gripped in the fist rather than strapped to the forearm because of its size. It was primarily used to deflect blows, bind weapons, and punch opponents. See, Yah, He's our shield and our buckler. So, we all who are the righteousness of Yah, He has an invisible buckler covering us, surrounding us, that we can't see with our natural eyes. And so I'm sure the Ruach HaKodesh led me to read that scripture and look up that word, because every day I get on my knees 3 times a day, family, and pray to the Father that He protect all Yashar'al worldwide from all hurt, harm, and danger. So, the Ruach led me to read that scripture, and they were saying to me, son, you don't have to say this every day. We already have that in place. So we are already protected by Yah. He's our shield and our buckler. But we can't see the shield and the buckler with our physical eyes because it is spiritual. Okay? Just like the firmament. It is not something, a physical, a natural thing. The firmament is spiritual. We can't see it with our natural eyes. And the water above the firmament, it's not natural water, but it is spiritual water, because there were some who Yah allowed to visit certain parts of heaven, like Enoch. His soul was taken out of his physical body, and the angels escorted him up to the heavens so he can view some stuff and write about it. And he was taken up, and he described the firmament, and he also described the water above the firmament. See, you have to be in the spirit realm to see that. We can't see that in the natural. It's not a natural thing. Just like the buckler and the shield that Yah has around us, protecting us. You can't see it with our natural eyes, but it is there. So there's not an iron physical dome covering the earth. So objects have been coming through the earth's atmosphere way before people developed technology to be able to see it. So everybody got these smartphones, and you see something looking odd and strange, you can record it now. But stuff has been falling down on the earth's atmosphere. And I have a scripture to show you that, fire and brimstone was rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah, because of their wickedness. And I will show you that in scripture. And I also will show you this video clip of some stuff falling down into the earth's atmosphere. But we are the righteousness of Yah. We have nothing to fear. But those people who love the world, not living for Yah, not trying to live at all to please Yah, they should be fearful, because in the appointed time, Yah will rain fire and brimstone down on the earth again on the wicked, but not the righteous. Okay? So check this out, family. An explosion of light. I'm going to show this now. That giant crater, when I was seeing for the first time and hearing people, some Israelites teaching about a physical dome over the earth, I was like, wow, they must not be hip to that crater out there in Arizona. That giant something, crashed from outer space into the earth thousands of years ago, and it left a giant crater. I'm gonna show everybody that first. This is at the end of the video, but I'm gonna show it first.
At over 500 feet deep, for the longest time, it was assumed to be a volcanic crater.
See that, John?
It wasn't until the 1960s that it was confirmed to have a more celestial, yet just as explosive origin. 50,000 years ago, as woolly mammoths and giant ground sloths wandered these lands, a massive asteroid collided here. The impact energy was about 10 megatons, equivalent to more than 20 million tons of TNT.
See that thing?
Named simply Meteor Crater, it's the first geologic scar ever confirmed to have been created by a collision from outer space.
So when I used to see videos where people talking about a physical dome over us, I'm like, they must not be hip to that big old thing, that big old hole in Arizona when something came from outer space and crashed into the earth. But you know, the firmament is spiritual. It's not a physical thing. And the water above the earth, above the firmament, is not physical water. It's spiritual. Now, here's something else in this video. A couple little clips together.
The images look like something out of a movie. A tiny asteroid tearing through space at a speed of 33,000 miles per hour before streaking across southern Russia. Cameras caught sight of the white trail as it headed across the sky. And then this. An explosion of light, then a massive sonic boom. Strong enough to shatter windows and damage buildings. There were reports of more than 1,000 people injured, mostly from glass and debris. This video shows a children's judo class. Windows blew out here and in buildings around the region. Some people said they thought it might have been a plane crash. This is the aftermath of the blast in a high school. A 17-year-old student put this video on YouTube, showing the reaction in his physics class. Students screamed and ran into the hallways. He said some in the class thought war had started. Cameras placed inside Russian cars. Many drivers now record their journeys in case of crashes or run-ins with police. Shock and gasps at the blinding light, the boom, and all the shattered glass. Jim Bolton, CNN.
Solid piece of debris from an object, such as a comet, asteroid, or meteoroid, that originates in outer space and survives its passage through the atmosphere to reach the surface of a planet or moon. When the original object enters the atmosphere, various factors such as friction, pressure, and chemical interactions with the atmospheric gases cause it to heat up and radiate energy. It then becomes a meteor and forms a fireball, also known as a shooting star or falling star. Astronomers call the brightest examples bolides. Once it settles on the larger body's surface, the meteor becomes a meteorite. Meteorites vary greatly in size. For geologists, a bolide is a meteorite large enough to create an impact crater. Meteorites that are recovered after being observed as they transit the atmosphere and impact the Earth are called meteorite falls, and others as known as meteorite finds. Meteorites have traditionally been divided into
a mile across and over 500 feet deep.
You see, family, like I said, this kind of stuff used to fascinate me when I was like in first, second, third grade, the cosmos, the space, you know what I'm saying? So I've always been fascinated with that, you know what I'm saying? Not since I found out I was really a Hebrew Israelite and came into the truth when Yah started awakening us by the Ruach HaKodesh. No, but I always had a fascination with the stars, space, rocks, comets, all that stuff. And I used to go to the library and read up on it so I will know what it is. And it never stopped. And I was always wondering what was the loud boom, when it's thunderstorms. What's causing that? And I got tired of wondering. So I went to the library in my hometown. I was about 30 years old. And I checked out this book on man and storms, or storms and man. And because I would hear people saying that, every time they send a space shuttle up, tornadoes form. I was like, okay, well, what was causing the tornadoes before they invented the space shuttle? We was having tornadoes in the earth way before the space shuttle came about. And in the book that I checked out, Storms and Man, or Man and Storms, I can't remember what was first. But I checked it out, and I would sit up in the parks and read it when I had nothing else to do. And it showed a camera view of the first tornado ever recorded or captured. And it said 1847. I was like, wow. So they didn't even have, the Wright brothers weren't even flying their paper airplanes yet. So before any man made anything to be able to fly in the skies, tornadoes and stuff has always existed. Asteroids and meteorites has always crashed into the Earth's atmosphere and stuff like that. And so, people are teaching about the firmament. They don't understand that is not physical. It's spiritual. And the water over the firmament, it is spiritual in nature, not physical. Because how can you explain away this stuff that keeps coming into the Earth's atmosphere? When they see it, they got to find something to say that man is, oppressors are playing tricks on everybody. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. These things dumbfound everybody. You know what I'm saying? But if we are the righteousness of Yah, we have nothing to worry about. Yah only caused fire and brimstone to rain down on the wicked. So we are protected, those of us who are the righteous and walk in obedience to his word. Okay, now let me show y'all these scriptures in Genesis. When our Father destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for their perversion and their wickedness. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 19, verse 15, right here it says, and when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy daughter, 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon him, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters. They saying, man, but those are angels. The Adonai being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain, escape to the mountains, lest thou be consumed. And down here, verse 24 says, then the Adonai rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Adonai out of heaven. Verse 25 says, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. And we know that Lot's wife looked back, and they were told not to look back. She turned to a pillar of salt. But, the point is that things, this is not a new phenomenon. Things coming from outer space into the Earth's atmosphere. Yah says in Scripture that this is going to happen again. Fire and brimstone will also be rained down on the wicked at the appointed time, though. Okay, so, family, as far as these meteorites, there's rocks. There's so much stuff out there in space, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it enters Earth's atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes these rocks, small meteorites that, if they don't burn up in Earth's atmosphere. Some of them are heavy enough to reach it to the ground. And some, I just saw a video the other day. Sometimes they crash through the roofs of people's houses. These rocks come from space and stuff, and they call them meteorites and meteor showers because of the streak of the tail of the big bright tail. It's shooting through the atmosphere through space at tens of thousands of miles per hour. That's what causes that to happen. But as far as the sonic boom, when I checked out the book Man and Storms back in 1994 in Indiana, I was wondering what caused the loud sound. And I would hear people talking about the sound barrier and stuff like that. And then sometimes when you hear people shoot guns, you can hear it traveling through the atmosphere. I used to always wonder about stuff like that. What is that? And I hear people talking about, the bullets break the sound barrier. And I was like, okay, what is the sound barrier? And then I had to go to the library and start reading up on stuff because I wanted to know stuff that I didn't know. I always been like that. So now the speed of, let's look up Google. So this is a research tool right here. These smartphones we got. How fast is the speed of sound? It's 700 miles per hour, the speed of sound. I know the speed of sound is over 700 miles per hour. It's 700, it says 767 miles per hour. Approximately 767 miles per hour. You see down there was bold black printed. Approximately 767 miles per hour is the speed of sound. You see that? The speed of sound down there at the bottom. Speed of sound, about approximately 767 miles per hour. So anything that's flying through the air faster than that, that's what causes the sonic boom. There's something streaking through the air that's going faster than the speed of sound. Bullets travel over 1,000 miles per hour, so they can break the sound barrier. Those Concorde jets that England used to make, and I believe France, they used to travel over 1,000 miles per hour, so they were fast enough to break the sound barrier, and that's what the sonic boom, that's what that sonic boom would be. You know what I'm saying? And so lightning travels through, about 10,000 miles per hour. So when it travels 10,000 miles per hour through the atmosphere, through the air, lightning is breaking the sound barrier. That's what causes the sonic boom. So that helped me to understand what's all that noise going on up there. Because people will say anything. So you got to research stuff if you want to know. And this is what I was doing about, the cosmos, thunderstorms, and all that kind of stuff. I read up on all this kind of stuff because that stuff used to fascinate me. And I was always wondering what's causing all of it. Because those big kabooms during thunderstorms, they are very frightening. And I'm laying on my bed at different times and stuff. Then what's causing all that noise? Because ain't nothing up there but rain and clouds, but what's causing all the noise? So I went and read up on what causes thunder and stuff like that. The lightning that's streaking through the sky is traveling way faster than the speed of sound, and that's why it says kaboom, the sonic boom. That's what it is. And man can make objects that can fly faster than the speed of sound, and that's what causes a sonic boom. But recently we're hearing things up in the sky, and people are hearing this boom and stuff because whatever it is traveling faster than the speed of sound. That's what it is. But we who are the righteousness of Yah, we have nothing to fear. We have this buckler around us, this shield. Proverbs chapter 2 says, Yah is our shield and our buckler. A buckler is like an invisible force field that Yah has around us, protecting us. That's what's going on. We can't see it with our eyes, but it is there. Same way with the firmament. We can't see it with our eyes. It's not a natural physical thing. It is spiritual. And so is the water that's above the firmament. It is spiritual in nature. That's what's going on, family. Okay, so I just had to share something with the family about these asteroids and meteorites and stuff like that. So you will have no fear, family. We are the righteousness of Yah, and we are protected. Okay, so be able to tune in, family. Y'all just stay tuned for my next message coming up on the 7th. And you will be in for a treat. You watch the whole entire video. You know what I'm saying? And I called it a glimpse at the lot for the righteous, Yashar'al, and the lot of the wicked, 83. And there's a reason why I go hard like that, because, you know, when they came at us, our oppressors, and they, whatever they had to say or did to our people, they didn't hold back no punches. You know what I'm saying? It was no mistake how they felt about us with the things they did to our ancestors as well as us today. So now Yah has chosen me and many of my brothers and sisters, but I can speak for myself. The reason why I go so hard, uncut, I ain't got nothing sugar-coated to say about the scriptures is because our oppressors, when they came at us with their hatred, they didn't pull no punches. So as a soldier in the army of Yah, when I teach this word, I ain't pulling no punches. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you can't stomach it, you people from Psalm 83, that's your problem. You know what I'm saying? But Yashar'al, stay tuned for the word coming up on the 7th, Yah willing. Okay, so until next time, may Yah bless each and every last one of you and your families. One love and shalom.